The Labrador Retriever, the most popular dog in the United States today, was recognized by the AKC in 1917.
They're a fairly new breed to the United States and a fairly new breed in general. There are no pictures on them in tombs as there are of Pharaoh hounds and Afghans.
The Labrador Retriever's ancestors came from coastal fishing villages in Newfoundland, Canada, not Labrador. It's believed that settlers came to the island of Newfoundland in the 1500s and brought working dogs along to help in hunting and fishing. When fish would escape from the rudimentary fishing gear, these dogs were used to retrieve the fish and haul in the nets. Different water dog breeds developed, and one became known as the Lesser Newfoundland.
Early descendants of the Labrador are definitely Newfoundlands. That's not disputed. Some of the other breeds that went into the mix are conjecture and argued.
In 1822, W.E. Cormack, an explorer from St. John, walked across the entire island of Newfoundland and journaled about the lesser Newfoundlands he encountered.
The dogs here are admirably trained as retrievers and fowling and are otherwise useful. The smooth or short-haired dog is preferred because in frosty weather, the long-haired kind become encumbered with ice upon coming out of the water.
These dogs became known as the St. John's dog, and it is the prototype of the Labrador Retriever we know today. In 1840, the geologist Joseph Beat Jukes also wrote about the St. John's water dog.
I observed he once or twice put his right foot in the water and paddled it about. He did it to toll or entice the fish. The whole proceeding struck me as remarkable, more especially as they said he had never been taught anything of the kind.
These skills caught the attention of a British sportsman known as the Earl of Malmesbury when he came across the dogs on a fishing expedition. He was so impressed with their workaholic and eager-to-please traits that he made arrangements to bring them to England, where he established the first breeding kennel to create the perfect hunting dog. In a letter written in 1887, he refers to them as his Labrador dogs. As the Labrador's popularity grew in England, in Newfoundland, the St. John's dog eventually died out due to a heavy tax and a British quarantine law. Sportsmen in the United States adopted the breed from England, and the breed gained more attention after an article entitled "Meet the Labrador Retriever" appeared in the American Kennel Gazette in 1928. The Labrador Retriever Club was developed in 1931 to preserve the integrity of the breed in America, when the breed was still quite rare. Before this, the AKC had only 23 registered Labradors in the country. But this all began to change as the breed became recognized as adept game finders and water dogs.
In the beginning, retrievers were bred together, what we now call the golden, the flat coat, the curly coat. Then they started distinguishing them apart, and then they were shown from then on as Labradors.
Initially, breeders favored black labs, but by the early 1900s, yellow and chocolate became acceptable too. All three colors can be born from the same litter.
Some people have their preference for color, but they really should be the same dog. Well-bred Labradors of all three colors should be alike temperament-wise.
The Labrador is high energy, friendly, and playful. Affectionately called Labs, they are a moderate dog, not extreme in any way. The breed standard says this dog is square or slightly longer than tall, a fairly large bone and substance. Its broad head and strong jaws enable it to carry the largest game birds, but they have what is known as a soft mouth, so they can carry waterfowl and fish without damage or puncture. Their heavy body set and strong legs make them powerful runners and swimmers. Its coat, which is short, straight, and dense with a soft undercoat, is weatherproof and protects them from cold temperatures. Webbed paws act as natural flippers, and they have an otter-like tail that acts like a propeller in the water. The same traits that made this dog invaluable to the fishermen in 19th century Newfoundland is what makes the Lab an excellent pet today. Devoted and obedient, no wonder the Labrador is so very popular.
The Labrador is so willing to please, and that has come through generation after generation. It seems like it can't be bred out even if you try to.
Labradors, with their high intelligence and even temperament, make the breed the perfect service dog.
German Shepherds were the original guide dog, but they were very one-person dogs. They wanted to guard their person as well as guide their person. When the Labradors first started to be used, they didn't have that protective instinct.
One of the more famous service labs was a British lab named Endel, who in 2001 saved his owner's life. In an emergency, Endel put his unconscious owner, who had fallen out of his wheelchair, into a recovery position, retrieved his phone from under a car, covered him with a blanket, barked at nearby homes for assistance, and then ran to a nearby hotel to get help. Endel was filmed almost 350 times and was crowned the most decorated dog in the world during his lifetime. The Labrador Retriever has also been used for service in war. In the Vietnam War, they were classified as military working dogs. Because of the Labrador's excellent sense of tracking and smell, they were put in combat tracker teams to locate the wounded as well as enemy patrols. The Labrador's photo op debut was in 1938, when Life magazine featured its first canine cover with the dog, Blind of Arden.
All the famous Gold Coast families of Long Island had Labradors, and he was one of the most famous field trial dogs, and so he got the privilege of gracing Life magazine.
One of the more famous Labrador owners were the Clintons during their White House years. Across the aisle, Dick Cheney had Labs, and across the sea, Prince Charles. Mainstream media has capitalized on the popularity of this breed. There's Marley from the best-selling book and movie. Downton Abbey features Labs as the aristocratic and loyal pets. And Budweiser upstages its iconic Clydesdales with a Labrador puppy to pull on America's heartstrings in Super Bowl ads.
They have those eyes that make your heart melt. They just have that look that says, pet me, love me, I'm your dog.
They've held the #1 spot on the most popular list for 27 consecutive years. The Lab is such a versatile dog, it's no wonder it makes a great companion for a variety of lifestyles. Hunter's partner in tracking and retrieving, narcotic detention and law enforcement for police, or service and therapy dog.
The dogs enjoy it, they enjoy the work. If you never see a Labrador that's not happy doing its job.
These same eager-to-please traits also make the Lab the perfect family pet who will always accompany you for a swim. A lot of swimming may be a good idea because out of all the dog breeds, it is the Labrador Retriever who is most likely to become obese due to a gene mutation.
As companion dogs, they just are so sweet, so friendly. They just want to be with you. They don't love anything more than to be with you, except maybe food.
One of the more exciting events at the AKC National Championship today is dock diving, where the dogs seem to fly through the air into the water.
Labradors took to it like no other breed. I mean, they are consistently champions and winning the blue ribbons in those competitions because it is just right up their alley.
This dog's story holds the record with a jump of 30 feet and 7 inches. She also appeared on The David Letterman Show in 2014. The Labrador has much that appeals to people. His intelligence, adaptability, and gentle ways make him an ideal pet.
The willingness to please is certainly one of the hallmarks of the breed.
Thank you for the kisses.
With all that the Labrador Retriever can do, it might come as a surprise that since the beginning of the Westminster Dog Show in 1877, not one Best in Show has been awarded to the beloved Labrador